Hi, my name is Demetri Betts, and this is my story. I was born in prison. My mom was a thief, and she got caught, and she had to go to prison. While she was in prison, um, one of the prison guards raped her, and that's my father. So she was pregnant with me in prison, um, and I'm lucky that she didn't abort me because she was raped, and so when I was born, I was put immediately into orphanages and foster care. When I was 3 years old, I was adopted by the Betts family. That's why I have my last name Betts, and you can see a picture of the Betts family here. And I met my brother for the first time when I was 3 years old. I was adopted when I was three, and the Betts family came to pick me up, and in the car was a strange boy, and they said, "That's your brother," and he literally was my blood brother. And it was weird. I was having a new mom and dad, and then there was my brother. So the Betts family, they earned pretty good money, and Mrs. Betts was we were like the only black people in a white neighborhood, and Mrs. Betts owned some beauty shops, and unfortunately they abused my brother and I. They abused my brother so bad. They found him one day hiding in the refrigerator in the school, and so the police took him away because he was being abused. And the abuse just went to me, and I, whenever I did something wrong, I got beat. I would have to take all of my clothes off. Well, before then, they would make me go into the yard, and I would have to pick a stick, and of course, I would not get a big stick, and I bring it back to Mr. Betts' dad, bring it back to dad, and he would, this is not strong enough, or he'll put them together, and I would have to lay over the bed, and it was always the same. Will you do that again? Will you do that again? Will you do that again? No, no, I won't. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Bam. Will you do that again? Will you do that again? No, I won't. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. And I went to school. I was in sixth grade, and the teacher saw some marks on me, and she asked me what happened, and I said I was bad. She called the police. The police came, and they took me away from the Betts family, and I was destroyed. That was my mom and my dad. That's all I knew, and they took me away. And the Betts family, Mr. and Mrs. Betts, could get me back. They had to take some classes, and because they were wealthy, they had to pay for, well, had money. They had to pay for the orphanages and all my education and everything. And so they thought the best thing for them to do, instead of getting me back, was to divorce me. They signed away their parental rights. That means they signed a paper that said we no longer want to be his parents anymore, and I became a child from the state. The state was my parents. Um, it was the hardest day of my life. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. Um, so I went to this one orphanage, and lo and behold, my brother was there, and so it was we never really had so much of a connection, and wow, my brother was there, and that was a bit of hope, and but he left, he got adopted, and he became a Watson, and he was gone. I was very happy to be at an age where I could leave the orphanage, and that's when I was 18. But I had some really great news when I was 17, and it was that my real mom, the one that was in prison, wanted to meet me. I was so nervous and so excited. I was gonna finally have a mom. I was gonna be with family, and I was gonna meet her, and ah, I was so excited. Just a long car ride there, and my heart beating, and so I remember standing in it was a social workers social services, sorry, and I was standing there, and then I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and I'm looking at my mother's eyes. She said, "You're my son, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And it was the first time yeah, I guess she kind of looked like me. I remember she had long nails and she had like a ring on each finger, and yeah, she was pretty, but she was really skinny. But she was really skinny. And she said, I want to take you to lunch. And we had lunch, and she said, I tried to find you for so long, but because you were adopted, they wouldn't let me find you. Um, please don't be mad at me. Please don't be mad at me. I was in prison. Um, and I said no, and honestly, I really was never mad at her, actually. And I asked her who my father was, and she said, don't worry about him. He doesn't know you exist. She didn't tell me the truth. I found out the truth about 2 years ago, actually, about who my father was. And she said the only reason they let me find you is because I'm dying of cancer. And about 2 or 3 weeks later, she died. Right? And you think the story gets better, right? Yeah. I was so angry, and I didn't believe in God. And I thought if he was real, I would never serve him. I would never follow him. He gave me the worst hand. If there was hands, he gave me the worst hand in the deck. He gave me the worst life. No one could have begged for or prayed for the life that I had. And I was just a kid. I did nothing. I didn't deserve any of that stuff. So I ran into drugs. Alcohol. I was on the street. And here you see a picture of me beside this rock. And this rock, actually, I slept on and under. In this area, I was safe there. And I was on the streets, and I was homeless. And a photographer says to me, "Can I take a picture of you?" And I said, "Sure." I never knew anything about fashion. I never knew anything about beauty. I definitely didn't find myself attractive. I thought I was like the ugliest, the worst of the worst. But he took a picture of me, took a couple pictures of me. And one of the pictures he took of me actually won an award in a state called Rhode Island. And I began to model, not only as a guy, but as a girl. And I began to dress up. And I became very famous as a drag queen. Her name was Diva Coco Brown. Here you see a picture of Diva Coco Brown. And she was, as a drag queen in America, you have to compete against other drag queens, and she never lost. But and I was also, like the other models and drag queens and everything else, doing lots of cocaine, and I actually sold drugs. I sold anything. My goal was like anything, I'll sell it all. I sold weed, I sold acid, I sold cocaine, I sold uppers, I sold downers. I mean, and I didn't care who I sold to. I sold to 12-year-olds. I didn't care. I remember one time maybe a 13 or 14-year-old called me and said, "Oh my God, my nose is bleeding because of the coke you sold me." And I said, "You idiot, you did too much. You do a little bit now, a little bit later." Yeah. And I remember there was one kid who, I'll never forget it. He came to my house because my house was always full of tons of people. And because I was a giver, even then, I'm a giver now, but even when I was a drug dealer, I was a giver too, you know. Anyway, so this one boy who I really had a lot of respect for, his name was Adam, actually, and he sat across from me and he said, "Tony," that was my name then. "Tony, you are really, really a bad person." And that like hit me so hard. It was like the biggest punch I ever got, because I thought I was a good person. I was giving away drugs. I was nice to everybody. I did what anybody wanted. And then, yeah, and everyone I knew did drugs. So it was just normal. I was just normal. And, well, one day I was having a drug party like I always did. And it became very hot in my place, but I thought it was an ecstasy. And that's when I thought, oh, the ecstasy is good. It's getting hot in here. And then I saw a man run past the window with a red hat on, and it was a fireman. And they're like, "Get out the house, get out the house, get out the house is on fire." And I think, oh my God, I have to grab something. My cat was there, my clothes were there. Then I had my fireproof safe with my money and drugs in it. So, of course, I take the fireproof safe, money and drugs in it. And I ran out the door, and it was like a movie. It exploded. Um, and I had nowhere to live, and all I had was drugs. And when my drugs ran out, people would stop me from living with them because they had nothing, and I had nothing, and I wanted to die. I was going to kill myself, really kill myself this time. And I had planned to drink some liquor and to jump in the lake. And as I was walking to kill myself, um, I had a vision. And the vision was so powerful that it knocked me down to my knees. And it was, not really what I saw, it's what I felt. I was engulfed in more love than I just felt so loved. I felt so loved, and I just started crying, but it was a crying of joy. It was the first time I had so much joy. And I heard a voice say to me, Demetri, Tony, I'm alive, I'm real, and I've chosen you for greatness. And I was just crying on the ground, and there was this lady, other homeless lady, we all picked on. Her name was Anab, and she always wore a helmet because she thought that the sky was falling. But she saw me crying, and she said, Tony, what happened? And I said, I think I heard God. And she said, oh, yes, I understand. She was crazy. And she said, well, do you have anywhere to sleep, Tony? And I said, well, no. She said, well, there's this church about 2 miles from here. They always have the doors open, and sometimes I'll sleep there. And so I went to the church, and I went. It was dark. I walked in there, and I felt so much peace. And there was a piano there, and God gave me the song, There's a Man Who Loves You. You can hear that playing now a little bit in the background. And it was the first song I ever wrote. And he was telling me that he loves me, and he always did. And I was hiding upstairs in the choir closet. There was robes, and I would sleep there in the morning, go to the homeless shelter, and then come back and sleep there. And eventually the pastor found out, and I would open the closet in the morning, and there'd be like a little food there or whatever. And that's basically how my walk with God began. It wasn't someone that said, you need to believe in God. It wasn't something I read. It was a presence, a feeling inside. And I remember I was sitting in a coffee shop, and a guy named Drew, amazing guy, and he sat down and he said, are you Coco Brown? And I said, I was. And he said, I prayed for you. I said, what? He said, I used to find posters of you in the city, and every time I saw a poster, I prayed for you. I thought, oh my God. And he said, you want to come to church with me tonight? And I said, sure. It was weird, you know. And so he told the pastor, and the pastor said, can you please tell a little bit about your life? And it was the first time I did, and I went, my first time preaching, I went in front of the people, and I told about my story. And then after I told my story, the pastor didn't even preach. He only said this, now who wants to give their life to God? And then like 20, 30 kids ran up front. And I saw I saw them crying. I couldn't believe that my story, me, could make a difference in someone else's life. It was just crazy. And so I began going into, I made another show. I said, I need to make a last concert with Coco Brown. And I made a show, Diva Coco Brown. And guess who came on stage? Me, not her. And I came on stage, and I began to say, I'm sorry I'm not dressed like Coco Brown, but a lot of you guys are on drugs. Drugs are not good. God is real. And people were booing and throwing things at me. And I ran up to my dressing room, and I was like, oh, God, I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. And there was a knock on the door, and it was the manager of the club. And he said, there's people who want to see you. And I opened my door, and there's a line of people. And a girl says, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. So amazing. Another kid was crying and said, I can't believe God found me here. And it was like, whoa, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I need to be doing. And from there, you know, I started ministries and Open Arms and lots of other things. Crazy for Jesus, the Fire School, to school in Brazil. I've seen my life. I've seen a man who didn't even have any money to pay for his food. It's to steal my food, and to see my life now. And I think most of that happened. I think God has blessed me so much now because I've given so much. I always gave. Even when I only had 20 bucks in my pocket, I would give like 18 bucks to the church, or I would help anyone, you know, and I believe that really matters and that makes a difference. And that's the story of my life. It's not over yet, so I can't tell you the ending. But I do know that if you live not for yourself and you stop being selfish and you start being selfless and you realize that you were made for something great. Every person was made for greatness. Every person. There's no one greater. Lady Gaga's not better than you. Einstein's not better than you. There's no one like you in the world. There was no one like you before you were born. There'll never be anyone like you again. You are unique. You are special. You are great. Me, a former drug dealer, homeless kid, rejected, kicked out, and I found a love, a great love. And yeah, that was my story. I'm Demetri Betts, and that was my story.
Let me tell you, my friends, of someone who will love you till the end. When you're alone, he's standing right there. Just tell him your problem. He cares. I know sometimes it's hard to believe. It's so much easier to be deceived. Heartache and pain will come your way. Why should I pray? That's what you say. But there's a man who loves you. Just open up your heart. Oh, and there's a man who loves you, and he always has from the start. Let me tell you, my friend, there's someone who loves you, who will love you till the end. When you're alone, he's standing right there. He's holding your hand. Just tell him your problems. He cares. I know at times life gets real hard, and the grass seems greener. The grass seems greener in your neighbor's yard. Heartache and pain will come your way. Will come your way. Why should I pray? Why should I pray? That's what you say. That's what you say. And there's a man who loves you. Just open up your heart. Oh, and there's a man who loves you, and he always has from the start. He died on Calvary for you and me. He died on Calvary, Calvary, Calvary. can call me crazy, you can call me insane. You see, I'm just not the same. I've got new life and a new attitude, and I'll tell you, he'll take care of you. His arms will come down to the clouds and hold you tight. He'll be there in a lonely night. It is Jesus. It's my Jesus. It's my Jesus. My Jesus. There's a man, there's a man, there's a man, there's a man, there's a man who loves you. You've got to believe there's a man, a mighty man, a strong man, a powerful man, a loving man who loves you. And he's in your room, he'll be there for you, my friends. Like he's been there for me, like he's been there for me. He'll be there for you, my Lord, like he's been there for me. And when my very best friend, that one that said she'd be there for me, walked out the door, Lord, you were there. Sing, child.
You were there for me when my mind filled with lies. You were there for me when all I wanted to do was cry. You were there for me when my soul felt like it was in a hurricane.
Lord, I'm so tired. I'm so tired on my knees. I'm so tired, Lord. I need you, Lord. Lord, I need you. I can't get on my knees low enough. I won't turn away. I can't bow down low enough. I can't put my face in the ground low enough, Lord. I need you. I gotta have you every day. Right, Jesus? Right now, he'll be there for you. He will care for you. He will hold you. He will mold you. He'll be there. My Lord, I need you. I do. I gotta have you. I do. Every day, every minute, right now, right now, right now, right now, right now.